皆さんこんばんは。そして午後日本語へようこそ。今日のテーマは Adjectives in the past tense です。Maybe one day you'll be able to describe the yakitori as being very delicious, but in the past tense. So by the end of this video, you're going to know the difference, hopefully, between e and na adjectives. Certainly be able to write e adjectives in the past tense and na adjectives in the past tense. So adjectives in Japanese, here's a little bit of a list. Immediately you'll notice that all of these adjectives in fact have an e at the end of them, which is pretty cool because it makes them so obviously that they're e adjectives. However, you'll notice at the bottom of the na adjectives list, there are some adjectives that are kind of like pretending to be e adjectives. Unfortunately, you're going to have to remember these off by heart because in fact they are not e adjectives, they are na adjectives. And you might say, well, the top ones are easy to remember, so that's good. You'll notice, in fact, that they don't have a na attached to them, but they do sometimes. And they do only when you're describing nouns. So, for example, we're going to describe someone as being strange, a strange person. We have hen, na, hito. That's really the only time you'll use the na. Otherwise, you need to know it for grammatical purposes. So the bottom ones, if you get confused, you're going to make the wrong grammar and make some silly mistakes. So just remember them off by heart. I'm going to show you how to do e adjectives in the past tense. So again, here's your list of e adjectives. Practice with these as we're going. To do it in past tense, you take off the final e in the adjective and replace it with kata and des if you are in a formal situation. And that's it. So for example, it was cute. You're going to have kawaii katta desu. You take off one e. That's it. There's an exception, however. It was good, and this is kind of the only tricky one with the e adjectives. You notice down the bottom there's in fact two kinds of e and yoi for good. So we're going to use the yoi one. Take off the e so it becomes yokatta desu. I'll go into a little bit more detail in a sec about it. So we have two examples, omoshiroi and kawaii. Let's do the first one together. Interesting. Take off the e. We're going to add katta desu if it's a formal situation. So omoshiro plus katta desu. I'm going to put that in the brackets because depending on who you're talking to. Kawaii, you take off one e and add katta desu. So kawaii katta desu. Depending on who you're talking to, you're going to add that des or not, really. Just remember yoi and e in the past tense. I mean, in the present tense, both of them are fine, but in the past tense, you don't say ikatta. No one's going to understand what you're saying. You need to know it's your katta. If you need to remember it off by heart, go for it. Again, it's just an exception that you need to know. So, na adjectives in the past tense. Really straightforward. Here's your list. Have a practice, but it should be okay. Take off the na. We don't use that anyway in Japanese. And add deshita or datta for plain form. So it was strange. Hen deshita, or it could be hen datta. Either way. Depending on the context, of course. Just be careful with na adjectives that look like e adjectives. So it was clean, kirei deshita or kirei datta, not kirekatta. That's crazy. Don't do that, okay? Just remember these ones off by heart. So here's an example, nigiyaka. It's an adjective because we know it doesn't have an e there. It means like vibrant, so you can describe cities in this way. To do it in past tense, you're just going to add deshita. So it becomes nigiyaka deshita. That's in a very formal situation, or it could be nigiyaka datta when you're talking with your mates or your family. So you have a try now. Write the following sentences in Japanese. My teacher was funny. The restaurant was expensive, but so hey. The clothes were cheap. My dog was famous on YouTube. I was a little strange. The ramen was very delicious. The TV show was interesting and good, yeah. This is like a conversation between two people asking for a response. Make sure you put the tense in there. The town was clean and quiet. Again, that tense is defined at the end. And we're going to do a separate video on this at some point, but have a look at the answers later on, see how it works. I'll explain a little bit later on. So pause now, and here's the answers. Check shyo. 先生は面白かった。私の先生は面白かったです。レストランは高かったです。ね。That ね is asking for someone to respond to you. So the person that's listening, they're going to give you a response for sure if you had ね。服は安かったです。私の犬は YouTube で有名だった。Just be careful with ね that you don't overuse it. 私はちょっと変だった。お変でした。ラーメンはとっても美味しかったです。So there's a difference there. とっても very and ちょっと a little. テレビドラマは面白くて because it's an E adjective, drop the E and add くて、よかったですね。Again, the tense is decided at the very end. 街はきれいで it's an adjective, remember. It's disguised as an E adjective, but it's an adjective. Take off the 9 and add で静かでした or だった。Either way. And that's it. So here's a bonus time. これは日本の電車です。So you're going to ask someone how it was. 日本の電車はどうだった or どうでしたか How was it? Or you can simply replace the どうだった or どうでした with an adjective. For example, was it fun? 日本の電車は楽しかった Just be really careful with the intonation at the end. Anyway, that's all we have time for. タカ先生でした。どうもありがとうございました。